Zombie cells are a scientific fact. Now imagine them inside your penis, turning it into a zombie penis. Not dead, not alive, and you have no idea why. Zombie cells are one of the hottest topics in aging research right now. But who would have guessed? When aging researchers sit down for dinner, the penis is usually not on the menu. I'm sure they'll get there. Just give them 10 years or so. My name is Dr. Stefan Buntrock. I'm a board-certified urologist and specialist in sexual health. The zombie penis is slowly taken over by zombie cells. These suckers are retired cells. They've stopped working, but they refuse to leave, and they have nothing better to do than interfere with the cells around them. It's a toxic relationship. Your penis could still function, but zombie cells won't let it. Is there anything you can do about it? Maybe. Scientists are working on an antidote. And believe it or not, onions and strawberries may have something to do with it. Stay with me. What are zombie cells? They used to be normal cells, but they are old. And one day the body tells them, you're out. So the body puts them into quarantine. Just like antivirus software isolates a computer virus. The cells are still there. They're still alive. But they're no longer supposed to contribute. So far, so good. The problem is that some of them refuse to stay quiet. They released inflammatory chemicals. They poison their neighborhood. And over time, they can make healthy cells sick as well. And that's when erections start to change. Most doctors would say, that's just aging. I think something else may be going on, and that's where penis longevity comes in. If you're new to UroChannel, or if you missed my last video, I introduced a new concept, penis longevity. I'll link that video at the end. So, is this just a theory, or do we actually have scientific proof? Actually, yes, and here's what surprised me most. Researchers discovered that you don't need millions of zombie cells to create a problem. Just a few can be enough. Think about a noisy neighbor. One bad neighbor can ruin an entire street. Zombie cells work in a similar way. Scientists call this the SASP, this senescence-associated secretory phenotype. Sounds complicated, but all it really means is this. Zombie cells talk, and what they say is bad news. They release inflammatory chemicals, they send distress signals, they attract immune cells, and they slowly turn a healthy environment into an unhealthy one. The remarkable thing is that the damage is often out of proportion to the number of cells involved. A relatively small population of zombie cells can influence an entire tissue. That's why aging researchers have become so interested in them. Because aging may not simply be a story of cells wearing out. It may also be a story of a few troublemakers making life miserable for everybody else. And that's exactly what researchers started finding inside the aging penis. Not just one cell type, several. They found signs of cellular senescence in blood vessels, in connective tissue, and even in the smooth muscle that makes erections possible. Now, think about what an erection actually is. At its core, an erection is a blood vessel event. Blood vessels must open. Nitric oxide must be released. Smooth muscle must relax. And erectile tissue must expand and trap blood. When all of these systems work together, erections happen naturally. But when zombie cells move into the neighborhood, things begin to change. Blood vessels become less responsive. Inflammation increases. Communication between cells becomes distorted. And tissues slowly lose their flexibility. Nothing dramatic happens overnight. The penis doesn't suddenly stop working. Instead, erections become a little weaker. Recovery takes a little longer. Morning erections become less frequent. Sensitivity changes until one day somebody tells you, well, you're just getting older. And yes, age matters. But maybe that's not the whole story. Maybe part of what we call aging is actually biology we can understand, and perhaps one day biology we can influence. Because here's where things get really interesting. Scientists are no longer asking whether zombie cells exist. They do. The new question is, can we get rid of them, or at least silence them? And this is where onions and strawberries enter the story. Researchers have become interested in a group of compounds called Senolytics. The idea is simple. If zombie cells are causing trouble, why not remove them, or at least reduce their numbers? Now, we're still in the early days of this field. Nobody should expect miracle cures. Most of the exciting work has been done in animal studies. Human research is only beginning. But one compound keeps showing up in the literature. It's called Fisetin. And surprisingly, it wasn't discovered in a pharmaceutical company. It was hiding in fruits and vegetables all along. Fisetin is a naturally occurring flavonoid compound in strawberries, apples, onions, and several other fruits and vegetables. What makes it interesting is that in laboratory studies, Fisetin appears to selectively target senescent cells. In other words, it may help the body clean up some of its zombie population. In aging mice, researchers have reported improvements in health span, reduced inflammation, and better tissue function. Does that mean Fisetin can rejuvenate your penis? No, at least not yet. We simply don't have the human data to make that claim. But the concept itself is fascinating because for the first time, aging is no longer viewed as something that simply happens to us. Researchers are starting to identify specific biological mechanisms behind aging, and zombie cells appear to be one of them. Before you rush off to buy a Fisetin supplement, a word of caution. The science is exciting, but we're not there yet. Most of the evidence comes from laboratory studies and animal experiments. Human studies are only beginning. In fact, researchers at the Mayo Clinic have been investigating Fisetin as a potential senolytic compound for several years. And right now, a clinical study in Denmark is exploring its effects in humans. That's how early we still are. Could Fisetin become an important tool in longevity medicine? Possibly. Do we know the optimal dose? No. Do we know the long-term effects? No. Do we know whether it improves erectile function in humans? Definitely not. So, if you're considering supplements, talk to your physician first, especially if you take medication or have underlying medical conditions. Science moves forward one study at a time. And right now, the story of Fisetin is still being written. Now, here's where I would like to take the discussion one step further. As a urologist, I spend a lot of time thinking about blood flow, tissue repair, regeneration, and erectile function. And lately, I've been asking myself a simple question. What if removing zombie cells is only half the story? What if the real goal is not only to eliminate damaged cells, but also to help healthy cells recover? Because once the neighborhood becomes cleaner, somebody still has to rebuild the houses. And this is where some of the technologies we use in regenerative medicine become interesting. Shockwave therapy, platelet-rich plasma, and more recently, EMTT, extracorporeal magnetotransduction therapy. Now, before anybody gets excited, I need to be very clear. We do not have evidence that EMTT removes zombie cells. Nobody has shown that. But EMTT appears to influence cellular signaling, tissue regeneration, inflammation, and mitochondrial activity. And those are exactly the biological pathways that become increasingly important as tissues age. So while Fisetin may represent one strategy for dealing with zombie cells, technologies like EMTT may represent another strategy entirely, not elimination, regeneration. Perhaps the future of penis longevity will not be a single treatment. Perhaps it will be a combination. Remove what no longer belongs, support what still works, and help healthy tissue do what it was designed to do. Because maybe aging is not simply a process of decline. Maybe aging is a process we can understand. And once we understand it, perhaps we can influence it. The science is still young, but for the first time, we can see the battlefield. And whenever that happens, progress usually follows. I'm Dr. Stefan Buntrock, always copied, never matched.